Hello and welcome. In our today's session, we are going to be looking at the if statement in C programming. And specifically, we shall be looking at the definition of an if statement, the syntax of an if statement, as well as do an example to illustrate the use of if statement. When you look at this particular screenshot, that is being used by IEBC to confirm the voter details, all we are expected to do is to enter our ID number. Then we click a button called check verification, and we're able to get our voter details. The question is, what happens when we would enter a value, maybe like 5? We know we don't have an ID number like 5. So when you're looking at if statement, we anticipate that your voter details will only be displayed if you enter a correct ID or a passport number. So what is an if statement? It's a statement that executes only when the condition is true. When you look at the IBC example, it means that the voter details will only be displayed when the condition, in this given case, the ID or the passport number, is correct. So an if statement normally checks the condition first, and if the condition is true, it goes ahead and executes a particular statement. So what's the syntax? An if condition or an if statement already begins with a condition. When this condition is true, the statements within these two curly brackets are going to be executed. So the statement here can either be one or more than one. So execution of the statements that are here will only be undertaken if the condition here is true. If the condition is false, then there is no statement that is going to be executed, and therefore we don't expect to see any output. Let's look at an example here. It's a program that's supposed to check the eligibility of a person to apply for an ID. We know in our country that for you to apply for an ID, your age limit should be 18 years. So in this given case, we are going to prompt a user to enter their age. So we have declared a variable called age. We're going to prompt a user to enter their age. Then we have a scanf here that's going to pick that particular age. Then we have a condition here. Remember when we were talking about relational operators. So let's imagine a scenario that we entered age 18. So if we enter an age 18 here, we are going to ask ourselves if 18 is greater or equal to 18. So that's true because 18 is equal to 18. And at that given point, this statement is going to be executed. Please apply for an ID. And you can see an output here. Enter your age, someone entered their age, and automatically this statement that says, please apply for an ID was executed. My question for you is this. What if we entered 12? What do you think is the output? If we entered 12, we are not going to get any output. And the reason is the condition is false. We enter the same value. So in this given case, we are going to have a prompt, enter your age. We now enter 12. So the condition here is if 12, which is the value that you have entered, is greater or equal to 18. 12 is not greater. So that means because this condition is false, then we are not going to get any output. So you can see that our program only ends after entering 12. Reason being, 12 is not greater or equal to 18. So you can see in this given case that when you enter a value and it ends up testing the condition to be true, then we expect an output. But when the condition is false, we don't expect to see any output when you're using the if statement. A program for you to try out, write a program that prompts a user to enter the height, and it should state you can't join the army if the person's height is less than 6 feet. Try that program on the side. And this is the answer. So we are going to have the program prompting us to enter the height in feet. Of course, we have declared a variable called int height. Then we are going to capture that particular height, and then we are going to test if the height is less than 6. Then printf, you can't join the army. And my question is, suppose we entered 6. What do you think would be the output? So you realize that a user with 6 feet is going to be eligible. Reason being that for you to join the army, you should be 6 feet and above. So at this particular point, if 6 is less than 6, so that of course is false. So this statement cannot be executed, and you'll see that our program terminates at that given point. Question is, suppose we entered a 4. What do you think would be the output? Within if statement, we normally have what we refer to as logical operators. And in this particular case, imagine a scenario where you need to display the category within which people fall on the basis of their age range. For example, we know a youth is within the range of 18 years and 35 years. So how do we ensure that any value that is entered between 18 years and 35 years, that consider someone to be a youth? For us to achieve that, then use what we refer to as the logical AND. So the logical AND is used when you are dealing with more than one condition, and both of the two conditions have to be true. For instance, in this given case, we are going to prompt a user to enter the age, and you can see now in my if condition, I now have my logical AND, which is supposed to test for the two conditions because I'm looking at two limits. I'm looking at someone's age should be above 18, but because we don't want even someone who is 60 years to be counted as a youth, then we have to put a limit. And you say that the age should be above 18 and that age must be less than 35. So we have put a limit that it has to begin from 18 and it has to end at 35. For you to do that, if you enter any age that is within this particular range, then we expect this particular statement to be executed. So if a user enters 24, 24 is going to be tested. Is age which is 24 greater than 18? That's true. And is age which in this case is 24 less than 35? Yes. So in that given case, it's going to execute you are a youth. What happens if, for instance, I entered 40? So I'm going to enter the age 40, then it's going to test age. Is 40 greater than 18? That's true. And remember, we have said that the two conditions must be true. So again, here we ask ourselves, is 40 less than 35? That's not correct. So we don't expect this statement to be executed, and the program ends at that. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.